Yo, what's going on, guys? And today I wanted to talk about who will the Philadelphia 76ers be signing in free agency. So before we start today's video, I want to hear those lovely comments down below. And who do you guys believe the 76ers should be attempting to sign in free agency? So let's get right into today's video, guys. And I really do think it's an interesting scenario because will Ben Simmons or will he not be on this team? And that's the big question. While we're doing this video, I'm going under the assumption that he will be on this team and that we believe that he will come back as an improved player who's willing to shoot, maybe even switch his hands. So, right here, we look at this team, and they got a few free agents: Danny Green, Mike Scott, Dwight Howard, Furkan Korkmaz, Anthony Tolliver, Gary Clark, and Rajon Tucker. Now, Rajon Tucker and Gary Clark were on two-way contracts. I don't expect either of them to be brought back, nor do I expect Tolliver, Mike Scott, or even Green to be brought back. Danny Green couldn't even come off the bench. And they have Paul Reed, who I think was one of the better defenders in the draft going into the second season, who I believe will get a bigger role. And you got Isaiah Joe, who is a confident three-point shooter and has a 7-foot wingspan, so it's capable of being a plus defender. Dwight Howard could be brought back, but we could see a contending team want to acquire his services. And next up, we could. What's crazy is they used their exception this past year and spent $5 million on Mike Scott. That was an overpay and a half. Furkan Korkmaz could also come back, but somebody could pay him. Now they brought in George Hill when they couldn't get Kyle Lowry, and George Hill's contract's not fully guaranteed, and they're currently sitting at 127 million, 127.7 with about a $10 million mid-level exception. And obviously this team, actually, my opinion, they will actually have a closer to a $6 million mid-level exception. It's actually the Denver Nuggets who have the $10 million. And Dwight Howard and Danny Green are veterans that the 76ers would ideally like to retain if they don't have to pay them too much. But I really think the $6 million taxpayer exception would not be enough to cover those both players. So when I look at this, obviously in an ideal scenario, they trade George Hill, which would open up about not much in cap space. You probably would have to trade George Hill and really Ben Simmons or George Hill and Seth Curry to actually get you guys below tax level. But you could maybe do a sign and trade involving George Hill, Seth Curry, and maybe one of your young guys, Shake Milton, Tyrese Maxey, or Matisse Thybulle. I don't know why I was struggling on that name, for Kyle Lowry. I don't believe they should go for it. There's bigger fish to be found. But what I think, if they can't do that, let's use that $6 million mid-level exception. Maybe bring in a guy like Andre Iguodala, bring him back. And if Dwight Howard leaves, Daniel Theis would be awesome to replace him. And even if Daniel Theis isn't available, Hassan Whiteside, I think he can do what Dwight Howard did and just come in 10 to 15 minutes a night and play an effective role backing up Joel Embiid. Andre Iguodala would back up, Tobias Harris and their power forward, because usually they've been running Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, and Danny Green out there sometimes, or Seth Curry, Tyrese Maxey we saw with, or Matisse Thybulle, really. I don't, in an ideal scenario, Iguodala, you wouldn't want to have Ben Simmons and Iguodala out there on the same floor at the same time, but if you had Seth Curry, George Hill, Iguodala, Harris, and Embiid on the floor when you give Simmons a break, I really like that. And then even when Simmons and Embiid want to have a break, you keep Tobias out there and you put Daniel Theis or Hassan Whiteside in with Andre Iguodala. That's some defense right there. And you just put Seth Curry, Tobias, and George Hill or Tyrese Maxey and just tell them go score. Shake Milton, just tell them go score. Paul Reed's a guy I think he should be getting more minutes at the center position. I think he's a very underrated center. People typically don't, don't really talk about him. But look, I think this team needs depth. And more you want shooting. And Daniel Tice and Hassan Whiteside are rebounding bigs that Daryl Morey likes. Now, Kyle Lowry's awesome. If they don't go for a player of that sort, would they want to go for, I think Josh Richardson, Danny Green, Alex Caruso are old guys out of the picture. I mean, obviously Josh Hart. You could see maybe Malik Monk if Daryl Morey thinks this guy low risk, high reward type payoff could work out. He has the length to be a plus defender, and he's shown in this 42 games he shot close to 40% from three. So Malik Monk could do something. Lou Williams would be awesome if he comes in, plays, and just be their sixth man. He's a little old, but he fits. If they need point guard depth, guys like, I think Patty Mills is staying in San Antonio. T.J. McConnell, Devontae Graham, Ish Smith, and Derrick Rose are all options, but they already have George Hill. And if they're not trying to get a bigger fish like Kyle Lowry, why would they do that? Then in free agency at the small forward position, you have Trevor Ariza, Carmelo, Andre Iguodala, Otto Porter, Kent Bazemore, and Derek Jones. Right there, Otto Porter, Iguodala, Ariza are probably the most likely. Maybe Anthony. I don't think Anthony would trust Daryl Morey again, so Kent Bazemore is a guy who could shoot and play three. Otto Porter and Kent Bazemore ideally, but Andre Iguodala gives you more defense. Then Markieff Morris would be nice. One of the Morris brothers would be ideal for them to bring in. It's just an interesting scenario because is there a lot they can do? But they are definitely in an interesting scenario because what can they do? You know? And there's the priority to surround Joel Embiid with the right role players, especially through free agency, because I think they'll draft like Bones Highland from VCU with their pick. So you could argue maybe they don't even need to get a point guard. Let's just go sign Andre Iguodala and guys like maybe Malik Monk or Al Burks for three-point shooting, you know? Reggie Bullock would be another great guy that they could look into bringing. Obviously, the options are limitless. So, with that being said, if you guys were the Philadelphia 76ers, what would you guys do? I want to hear those beautiful thoughts down below. Because, why not? Let's hear what you guys have to think. But yeah, that's basically the video I have for y'all today. Nothing super special. Just want to say, who do you guys believe the Philadelphia 76ers will be signing in free agency? So as I wrap this video up, because it's 8-minute marker, come on guys, if you haven't been following my channel, hit that like and subscribe button to join on the gang. We're almost at 4,000. Channel's been growing well this off season. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart, boys and girls, people who watch my videos. Peace out.